Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Frankie V here. I'm live from the NFL Combine. There is a lot of news going on. A lot of news. Matthew Stafford has re-signed with the Los Angeles Rams. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. I didn't think Stafford was going to go back to LA. I didn't. I thought the Raiders were in play. I thought the Giants were definitely in play. But now with Stafford out of the picture for the Giants, the Raiders, and even the Jets, although the Jets weren't rumored at all to be in the Matt Stafford sweepstakes, that turns the attention to that number one pick. It turns the attention to Cam Ward and what value that pick becomes now that Matt Stafford's off the board. So Stafford's not in play anymore. Sam Darnold's value goes up. Cam Ward's value goes up. And there's going to be a premium to be paid for moving up. But, yeah, we're live from Indy. Shout out to the chat gang. Who do we got here? Matthew Smith, Frank the Tank. What it do? The Giants can have Rodgers. Armand, how we doing, baby? Yeah, the Giants can have Rodgers. I'll bring Aaron Rodgers there myself. I'll drive from Indianapolis right now. I'll lease a car, or I'll rent a car, excuse me. I'll go to wherever Rodgers is in New Jersey. I'll pick him up and I'll drive him over the bridge. KP, my dude, how we doing? We are live from Indy. Indy is a great place. I am a big fan of Indianapolis. It's probably one of the only cities that was never really on my list that I really love. Let's go. Holden, my guy. All right, so Holden, if you want to call in, by the way, I'll put the link to the StreamYard. You guys and gals can come in and let's chat. But Matthew Stafford, Holden Canner, being a big Rams supporter himself, they're bringing him back. I'm curious to see now what happens with the Cooper Kupp situation. The Rams said that Cooper Kupp wouldn't be returning. I'm curious to see if that's still alive at this point. I think the Rams maybe mulled over a rebuild. So the Rams and McVay probably said, oh, should we think about a rebuild? And maybe we get rid of Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and just go into a long-term sort of like new rebuild. Oh, look who we got here. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Jake Assman.
Frankie V.
This guy, there's nobody better than this guy. And he got attacked. He was assaulted by the Colts mascot today.
You witnessed it. You saw it.
I was there. I was a witness.
I just spoke to Goodell. The official complaint has been filed.
Done.
So
the same kind of complaint that Rappaport filed?
Yeah, actually, I met with the same investigators. They've been very busy this week.
Hey, you're the man. You're leaving now?
I'll be here for a few more hours.
All right. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Jake Assman, Jets Content's finest right there in the house. There he is. I'll tell Jake, Matthew. Yeah, Kupp definitely gone. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if it's relatable necessarily, but I'm thinking if they're going to bring Stafford back, why wouldn't you bring Kupp back? Why wouldn't you want to re-up and try to do it again? I mean, the Rams were arguably a drive away from getting to the championship game, so you never really know. Drop your questions. Frankie V and the uSTADIUM gang, all about the U, baby. We're live from Indy for the NFL Combine. The quarterbacks are working out tomorrow, so I'm excited to hit that up. I tell people all the time I'm really invested in the quarterback workouts because of that key throw, that key sideline throw. Which quarterbacks can make it and which quarterbacks can't make that throw? It's not about the throws across the middle. I don't care about the middle throws. I care about that sideline, that 15, 16, 20-yard sideline throw into the boundary. Can you make it consistently or not? Last year, Bo Nix made that throw blindfolded. Nobody else could. Only Bo Nix. It's not a coincidence. Bo Nix was one of the best rookie quarterbacks. And out of all the quarterbacks throwing last year, Bo Nix was the best one. Because last year, top three quarterbacks didn't throw. Caleb didn't throw. Jaden Daniels didn't throw and Drake May didn't throw. Bo Nix was the best one out of those outside of those top three because they weren't there. Do you feel Shador Cam should throw? I think Shador should throw, if you want my honest opinion. I'm in the minority here probably. Well, not in the minority. I would say I'm in some minority because I've heard this now more than I thought I would. I don't think Shador Sanders is a top 10 pick. I don't think he's a top 15 pick. I'm not even sure he's a first round pick. I'm not. And it has nothing really to do with his potential necessarily, because I think all these guys somewhat have potential. I think it has to do with his mindset. And I think if he shows that he would throw, I think that would give a lot of good indications to teams that it's not the Shador Sanders show. It's me trying to prove who I am. Not that you need to, like, wine and dine me to want to go and be your quarterback. It's your privilege to have Shador Sanders in the house. Be a little more humble. Humility goes a long way. And I don't feel like I get that from Shador, and I think that could hurt him at the NFL level. It's a different league. People are going to try to, knock you out of games. And I don't think Shador has the humility that I'd like in a quarterback. I don't think his game is all that special either, where he can be some arrogant, it's all about me. I'm the man. I'm a Sanders. You should be bending over to have me be your quarterback. I don't like that approach by Shador. I'll be honest. And that's what I do. When I make content, when I go live, I give you my opinions. I give you who I am. I don't talk like other people. I don't care. You want to have a conversation about quarterbacks? Let's have a real conversation. That's it. I'm not going to give you, this is the average projection and blah. I don't do that. You want to have a convo? Yeah, Shador Sanders is an arrogant asshole, and I think he needs to be humbled a bit. And by him choosing not to throw, I think that hurts his stock. My opinion. You could disagree, and you might be right. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. Cam, I don't think needs to throw. I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft by a mile. I think Cam Ward should be the number one pick. But if Tennessee doesn't feel like Cam Ward is good enough and they can hoodwink people to want to give them a haul for that number one pick, and now that seems more evident than not, given that Matt Stafford's returning to the Rams, that number one pick becomes a lot more valuable. Cam Ward might go for 3 first-round picks. People thought it was 2, a swap of 1 and then 2 extra. No, 1 extra. It might be 2 extra. It might be 3 extra. That's the cost of doing business. So I think Tennessee now is going to put that pick out there and really want to get into a rebuild. Let's get to more questions. Do you think Tyler Warren not working out does anything to his stock? No. The top guys at their position don't need to work out, usually. Gentry's not working out. Cam Ward's not working out. Tyler Warren's not working out. I don't blame them. They're the clear-cut ones at their position. There's not many positions in this draft. I would say that there's like clear top 1 guys, but Cam Ward is a clear QB1. Ashton Genty's the clear RB1. Although I've seen some people that look at other running backs like Amari and Hampton or Caleb Johnson or Travion Henderson as being closer to Gentry than anyone is close to Cam Ward, but I still think Gentry's running back 1. And then tight end 1's Tyler Warren. You're not going to put Colston Loveland or, Mason Taylor or any of these other tight ends or Harold Fannin. So they don't need to work out. They're the kind of picks that you need a quarterback. It's Cam Ward. Why do I need to work out and change that? You need a running back. It's Ashton Gentry. Why do I need to work out for you to change that? You need a tight end. It's Tyler Warren. I don't need to do anything to not give you that indication. Those are just clear-cut guys. So, no, I don't think so. That's why, for me, Shador Sanders should work out, because I don't think that he's established himself as the second best quarterback or the third best quarterback. I was talking with people here. I was talking with Trevor Sikkema. I was talking with some people here that think that Jackson Dart's better than Shador Sanders. People have Will Howard. I do, as one of my top 3 quarterbacks this draft. I actually have him at QB2 at the moment. That could change, but he's my quarterback too. Yeah, I agree, Matt. I don't think so. I think that's tomorrow. Gotta love Frankie's realism. Appreciate it, Vinny. Yeah. Listen, I could be a little crazy. I could have my own opinions, but if we're gonna have a conversation about quarterbacks and leaders of your franchise and being the face to what you do as a team, let's talk about personalities. I think a lot of times personality is a variable that's not brought up for quarterbacks, and I think it's extremely important. For defensive ends, I don't think it's that important, but for quarterbacks, it's very important, in my opinion. I think Cam Ward is very good in the best in his class, but do you really think he's a transcendent type player that is worth multiple ones for? Matty Sapolas, that's my guy, wide receiver at my high school, bro. Matt Sapola's OG. I think that's him. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know. It could be another one. That's the question. That is the $1 million question with Cam Ward. He's very good, but is he worth 2 first-round picks extra, or 1 first-round pick extra plus a few seconds? My answer to that is yes, but I'm not. It's yes, but it's due to other circumstances. Like for the Jets, I'll give an example. If you were to tell me the Jets could go from not drafting Cam Ward and then they end up with Jackson Dart, take Cam Ward. But if it's don't take Cam Ward via trade up and then get Will Howard on in the second round, and I think that's where Will Howard's going to go, by the way. So I know people think that's high. I'm just saying I'm fine with Will Howard in the second round, and then you take BPA in the first round, or you take Riley Leonard or Kyle McCord in the 4th or 5th round. I'm probably better off with that than having to give up all those assets to get Cam Ward. But I think the Jets need a quarterback in this draft. So you have to figure out how they want to do it. But yeah, I don't think Cam Ward's not Caleb Williams. Although he could be better than Caleb Williams when it's all said and done, more valuable at the position, not talent wise, but just a better quarterback. But yeah, that's the $1 million question. In my opinion, I would say yes, but I'm barely over that line. Yes, but barely over, and it could change by the time the draft comes around. But yeah, drop your questions in the chat. Frankie V here. We are live from Indy, all about the U, baby. You know how we do. Do you see any other quarterback in the trade market for the Raiders? Well, the backup from Tyson Benjant is apparently rumored to be available from the Bears. I know that's not like a flashy name, but he's somebody. You have the kid out of Detroit, Hendon Hooker, that people been discussing. I heard he's apparently available. There's a few backups, but nothing to get too excited about. This draft is really where I think, and it's funny, there's no quarterback really in this draft that you can say, or there's not more than one that you can point at to say they can be a quarterback on day one. Like there's no quarterback in this draft that you're confident outside of Cam Ward, and some people aren't even confident in Cam Ward that they can start as a rookie. So I think there's a bunch, though, that serve as backups, potentially, especially early on. Literally just take the top 10 quarterbacks in this draft, and 9 of them could be suitable backups as rookies. Who has a better arm, Kyle McCord or Will Howard? Good question. Arm strength, Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord has a bigger arm. Bigger arm and better arm are 2 different things. Like Drew Brees has a better arm than Ben Roethlisberger, but Ben Roethlisberger has a bigger arm, if that makes sense. So I would say Kyle McCord has a bigger arm. I think what makes, for me, Will Howard have a better arm is every single time Will Howard gets the ball out, it hits right there. Every wide receiver screen hits on the numbers. Every in route hits on the numbers. Every sideline throw hits on the numbers. Every check down hits on the numbers. He makes it easy for guys to catch without thinking and getting yak. That is Will Howard. So does he have the pop deep down the field that Kyle McCord has? No. I was talking again with Trevor Sikkema from PFF, lead draft analyst for them, and we were talking about Kyle McCord. said, which was interesting, is Kyle McCord wants to play like Baker Mayfield, but Kyle McCord doesn't have the arm that Baker does, or the aura, the swag. So it's a good question, though. And if you think Kyle McCord has a better arm, I wouldn't, fight you on it. I mean, staying on this point, Jason, what's up? Salutes. Former uSTADIUM co-host Jason. We were here last year, Jason. Kind of miss you, brother. Ain't gonna lie, but you had bigger plans. So hey, but thoughts on McCord, 4th rounder, not any lower, not any higher. Like his arm. Actually, I really like his arm. I don't love his arm. I'm not sold on everything else. I think he tries a little too hard to make big throws, and I don't know if he's got it all, but I think with some time he could develop. Brother, I was an extra O-line in the triple offense. Hope all is well. I'm thinking of somebody else. I don't know why my brain is off right now. I didn't sleep well and I drank a lot of coffee. So Matty Sapola, give me a bone here. There's one comment I want to put up. I almost did, but I didn't. Zach, do you think if the Giants get Aaron Rodgers, it's a panic move? It's a I don't know what the hell you're doing move, or it's a I don't know what the hell is the point move. But I mean, listen, I thought, and this was sort of my opinion, I thought that if Matt Stafford went to the Giants, although it sort of didn't make sense, I thought it could make some sense in the sense of working with Brian Daboll. I think they could put together an interesting, good offense. So I think with Malik Neighbors, it would also be good for Malik Neighbors too. But with him there, with some of their receivers, wide receiver 2s and 3s, Wandell and such, I think Stafford could teach those guys how to be receivers and sort of move the ball down the field with Daboll calling plays. I thought it could be something that kind of the Giants need, being in the hole for so long, being as bad as they've been. I think it could have built some momentum. Whether it would have worked in terms of winning a playoff game or getting to the playoffs or not, I thought it would have been good for their locker room and their young receivers. But Rodgers to me isn't that. I just think Rodgers is not the equivalent to me of Stafford. I'm not saying play wise, even though I don't think Rodgers is as good as a quarterback as Stafford still is, and that's due to age and injury. But I think it's personality. I think Aaron Rodgers it's about Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It just is what it is. And I don't know if in that locker room with Malik Neighbors and some of their woos and issues, I just don't think it makes any sense to me. I think Rodgers to Pittsburgh makes sense. I think Rodgers to a team that is in some sort of win now window that's just a quarterback away, I think it makes more sense for him to go somewhere like that. But going to the Giants, I don't see it. All right, top 5 tight ends I'm excited to see at the combine. That's a good question because I love tight ends. To me, it's pretty standard, but I want to see Colston Loveland. I think Colston Loveland is super interesting. Out of Michigan, Colston Loveland is not only is he a tight end, he's a slot wide receiver at the same time. So you're getting kind of 2 positions in one there. So I'd like Colston Loveland a lot, but I don't know if he is a prototypical tight end 1 that you could play in line every single time because of his ability to be your slot receiver. So I think he's someone that I want to see sort of kind of drills he runs. And listen, if he runs a lot of wide receiver stuff, then put him there. Similarly, Harold Fannin Jr. is a torch, man. I mean, that guy is he lights up any field he's on, he just lights things up. So I think he's someone I'd love to see out there and see what his sort of speed and athleticism looks like. He accounted for more than half of the passing yards in college as a quarterback had at Bowling Green. More than half. He had 1,500 plus yards receiving. His quarterback threw for 3,000, but he even accounted for more than half. It's insanity. 15 touchdowns, I believe. So curious. Then you have Jason Taylor's son, Mason Taylor. Curious to see how well he moves, and similarly, Gunnar Helm. Curious to see how well those two guys move in space. Because I'm not sold that either of them are down the field yak tight ends, Mason Taylor and Gunnar Helm. They could do a lot of stuff in line, but I think they need to prove how they move. So those are just a few names there. Top 3 potential first round busts. This is a good question. Well, I'll start off with the quarterback. I mean, I hate ripping this guy too much, but I think Shador has, a bust potential all over it. Again, it's not even just the personality I was going through. It's the arm strength. I question it. It's Travis Hunter bailing him out anytime he found himself in trouble. It sort of reminds me of how Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans, their relationship was in college on the field. It's nice when you have a receiver like Travis Hunter out there, isn't it? You could just kind of throw it up there and let him make a play. Is he able to avoid pressures, not necessarily holds onto the ball too long, likes to pump it? It's interesting. It's actually insane. It's to his credit that he had a 74% completion percentage. You watch his film and you're like stunned at how that's possible. But yeah, he's one. Wide receivers, I would say. Listen, I think if you look at Tet McMillan or Agbuka or Luther Burden, all projected to go in that first round. Listen, Agbuka could probably fit in any offense, but as a first rounder, what is his ceiling? Ted McMillan, big body, can make any catch, but is he able to get in and out of cuts? The NFL's open field now. It's more for receivers. It's a little bit flag football-ish. So is he going to be able to break in and out of routes and have, not have corners draped on him? Like, if you're going to be compared to Mike Evans, that's special, but there's not many people that have become Mike Evanses, and I've seen that comparison thrown around a bit. Is he more Michael Pittman, Ted McMillan, or is he more Mike Evans? That's the difference between being a top 10 pick and being a second rounder. And Michael Pittman's really good, so no hate on him. I guarantee if people and GMs thought that Tet was Michael Pittman, he'd be going in the mid to late first round. Running backs wise, I'll be honest, and I'm in the minority here, but again, this is just my opinion. I don't see it with Amarion Hampton as being a first round running back 2 or running back 1. Some people have him. I don't know what it is. It seems a little choppy. The footwork seems a little bit bulky. It's not as smooth in and out. Very strong downhill, but I don't see it like other people do. I don't know. I think there's running backs that I like more in this draft. I like Caleb Johnson more. I like Judkins maybe even a little bit more. So I don't see it with Amarion Hampton. And then kind of like rounding it back to quarterbacks. I think Jackson Dart has a lot to prove as a first rounder. I think if he's in the right system, I think it makes sense and he has development behind him, but just depend on him as a first rounder to come in his rookie year. What does he do really well? So those are just a few names. Per rap sheet, the Rams deal with Stafford will be agreed to finally the next few weeks. This salary. All right. In my opinion, I think the Jets should draft 2 tight ends this year. I mean, definitely one. The thing is, drafting 2 is fine, I guess. If one is more of a blocking tight end, the other one's a receiving tight end, I could see that. I would feel more comfortable. Like if the Jets in the second round drafted Colston Loveland and then, on day 3 drafted, some beast run blocking tight end in this draft. I would like that more, that would be better. If you got, Gunnar Helm and, Tyler Warren, if you match them up, that would make a lot of sense to me. But you got to get premier on both sides. I wouldn't just get 2 receiving tight ends or 2 blocking tight ends. So you have other holes to fill. There's a stacked defensive tackle class. This defensive tackle class runs deep, like real deep. Walter Nolan, crazy. Kenneth Grant, insane value there wherever he's going to go. You have this Collins kid that measured yesterday. I mean, is that even a real person? You have Turner, Sanders, Farmer, Walker. I mean, like the list goes on and on with defensive tackles. You get another tight end, you can miss out on a defensive tackle. So instead of going in free agency or instead of getting Mason Graham like everyone wants, set 7, take a defensive tackle in the 4th round. Done. So if you get 2 tight ends, you can start messing up with some needs. But if it's there, it's there. This is a very good question. Is resign this? I think it is, depending on the context. But I am writing was my weakness my whole life. So you're asking the wrong person. Deep edge and D-line class. Who are some of your favorites that the Eagles can grab? Listen, man, I don't know if you guys need this player, but I think Walter Nolan, the way that he plays, the swag next to Jalen Carter, man, you'll be eating quarterbacks and running backs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, you guys kind of already do, but I really like Walter Nolan for you guys. I think that's a player who, if he can fall in Philadelphia's hands, I think you guys are in some serious business there. Another name. So an edge player I really like, and I don't know where he's going to go, but he had a great day yesterday, and I've been talking about him for a bit now, is Landon Jackson. So Landon Jackson is kind of built like the Ultimate Warrior in a weird way. Guy is a house and led all edges and vert yesterday, which surprised me because when you watch him on tape, you're like, this dude plays like he's a wrestler, like a football, like a converted wrestler into a football player, and he freakishly jumped over 40 inches. So Landon Jackson, some people projected him to go in round 3. I think he might fall into round 2. So and I don't know if 32 makes sense, but listen, if you need an edge and his personality just makes plays. I was looking at some Jackson Dart's tape. Landon Jackson strip sack Jackson Dart in the Senior Bowl. So Landon Jackson's a big time player. Every time I saw him on tape, he was making plays. Landon Jackson. I like him a lot in this draft, and I think he'll go later. 32 is probably too high for him, but someone to keep an eye on. If the Jets drafted, Shedeur Sanders. End of sentence. What's your Sam Darnold contract prediction? I fear my Raiders do this. Sam's going to get paid, man. Sam is going to get that bag. Why? Because there's nobody else. There's nobody available for trade. There is nobody available to sign that you can depend on as a day 1 starter. Cousins, come on. Justin Fields, still nobody knows project. Derek Carr there's no indication he's getting traded or cut. Sam Darnold, and that's it. So I think he's gonna get a nice deal somewhere in the 3 to 4 years. I think 80 mil, something like that. I think for sure. Team's gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him a lot of money. He's the only quarterback who's available. And this draft class with quarterbacks isn't so top heavy, or you don't have a rookie who you could depend on to start outside of really Cam Ward year one. So I mean, Sam's someone you pay, he'll come right in, he'll be your day one starter. Yeah, I heard the same thing. That kid is let me look him up because I had notes on him. Uh that kid is from Zach is it's Jackson Hawes. Yeah. Yeah, he's somebody that you can get on day 3, and if you were to get like a Colston Loveland or somebody, and then like you'd have like a 2 tight end set that would freaking dominate. Yeah, I would too if there's not a defensive tackle that you like, if there's not a guard or offensive tackle that you like, you might be able to get a safety. It all depends. Mason Graham being below 300 is a little worrying. Yeah, Mason Graham is listen, Mason Graham isn't some like physically imposing defensive tackle who is gonna take over and be the best D tackle in the NFL. He doesn't have that size or well, as they say, the scouts here, the sand in the pants. Can move well down the line. And has a nice array of pass rush moves and is like freakishly strong. Is that enough? Is that top 10 worthy? Is one forced fumble at Michigan his whole career? I mean, I want a game record at top 10 if you're not going to be some like physically imposing guy on the front line, right? But resigns. So I guess I need to change the wording here. I mean, you know what? Leave me the hell alone. You know what I mean? Yeah, he resigns from football. He resigns. The Raiders are considering Russell Wilson and Sam Darnold. Listen, I'll be honest. I don't know what a team expects out of Russell Wilson. I have no idea. I when I see people and reporters and rumors saying that he's looking for 25 million what in total? No, he wants it yearly. I'm good on Russell Wilson. There's no upside. Maybe if you have a team that has all their pieces together, and you want to make a run, but like, is he the leader you need? I don't know. The Russell Wilson stuff's just crazy. I would go with Darnold over Wilson. At least you have a ceiling with Darnold. How would be smart to keep its 5th-year options? Yep, I agree with that. The best GMs do that. What do you think about this linebacker class? I mean, yeah, obviously it depends on the Jamie Sherwood situation. You got guys though. People love this Jihad Campbell kid. I know me and Dom C were going on about it. He's gonna go high though. Like I wouldn't look at him as your option in the first round. Definitely, even if you move back, I wouldn't look there right now. So I'm not like a big like Jihad Campbell fan as like a day one guy. Jalen Walker, people like a lot, super explosive, kind of play all over the place. Again, I'm good on linebacker for now. But you have other guys like Demetrius. I like later on If you look at like the kid Mondone Jr. is nice, or Jeffrey Bassa, you had two linebackers there that like, or even Kobe King, like you can get later on down the line. And like Kobe King specifically, or Cody Simon, like those guys are like really like just stout guys that if Jamian Sherwood leaves, you could sort of develop them out. But I don't know, linebacker, middle linebacker, unless the guy's like able to make game-changing plays, I wouldn't look there too early. I think you could get that from a defensive lineman. I think the Jets should focus on offensive line and just fix it completely. Like, I know we have 4 or 5 starters. Get another offensive tackle. Get one. I don't know when, but get one early so you can slate someone in it as a starter. Or if AVT needs to move to tackle, take an offensive guard. Like, just get the offensive line awesome so it can make our OC's job that much easier. It can make a quarterback's job that much easier. So I would look at offensive line the first 2-3 rounds. Take a tight end. Help out the offense. When are we gonna? Why are we ignoring the offense here? You have Aaron Glenn, who was defensive coordinator, defensive guy. You have Steve Wilkes, who's a defensive guy, who was a head coach. Let them figure the defense out. Help the offense. It's a first-time OC. Forget linebacker. I mean, if you want to get one on like the 5th or 6th round, I'm fine. But like, what if that falls off? I don't know. Yeah, it was wild. I didn't expect that. And I loved Landon Jackson coming into the draft as like a 3rd round guy. I was talking about him with Nick and Dom C. Would you premature? No, you can't. The injury risk. He's losing some pop. I don't. Not right now. Yeah, I'll read. So you're asked, just because you said, can you read the questions? You're right. Would you prematurely extend AVT because that 15 million being pure cap space is very prohibited? Could add 2 more starters easily. That freed up funds. No, because the injury risk. Better defense tackle, Harmon or Nolan? Good question. Nolan, because of his flexibility to play a 5 technique. I think you could put Nolan anywhere on the D line. He's super fluid, man. He's very fun to watch. How much better is next year's quarterback draft class? Which teams are quarterback needy? DC waiting year draft quarterback. Next year's class is slated to be very, very good, and I think it's going to be a very, very good draft class. I think it's going to be significantly more top heavy than this year's draft class. But there is something I really like about this year's draft class. I love the prospect of these late rounders, of guys in day 3 that could become studs. Riley Leonard's one of them. Riley Leonard is a quarterback who I think, if he's put with the right system, could do anything on a football field. Extremely athletic, a leader, can make any throw. Let him develop for 2-3 years. Curtis Rourke's another quarterback I really like. Dylan Gabriel's another interesting quarterback that I like. I talked about Will Howard. I think he's going to go earlier than people think. Quinn Ewers was projected to be a top 10 pick before the season. Where does he end up going? He might be a 4th rounder. So there's like a bunch of like late quarterbacks I like this year. So I think if I had to say, next year, I'll have like 4 guys at the top, like last year's draft, and then maybe nobody late. Excuse me. But this year, I think is sort of the opposite. Yeah, Mason Graham is really similar to Fisk. I agree. Fisk was a 2nd rounder, though. What was he, the 40th pick or 39th pick? I think he went to pick that Philadelphia wanted to trade for Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I agree. 2nd rounder. I'm not saying Mason Graham's a 2nd rounder. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to compare, I think, he's better than Fisk, but he's not that much better where I would say, like, you got to get him in the top 10. Should the Jets use one of their young players as assets? Oh, what's up, Jokey? Absolutely. Why the hell not? Yeah. I mean, listen, if Breece Hall is on the last year of his deal and you could package Breece, Tennessee needs a running back, don't they? They're not going to stick with Pollard and Spears, I don't think, for that much longer. Package Breece, a first, few seconds. I don't know. It makes sense. You might not pay Breece anyway. You could draft a running back in the 3rd round this year. You give up your first and second. You get Cam Ward. You draft a running back. Might make sense. Or if I don't know if Sauce, I don't think will be available, but the Jets have to just change something. I hate, talking about trading players, but we haven't won with these young guys. We've overrated some of this talent a bit. Let's just call a spade a spade. You don't win 7 games every year and think that everything's fine. The coaching's been terrible, but at a point, the players show up on Sundays. The players are dropping balls. The players are not getting their hands on footballs defensively, not forcing turnovers. That's not the coach's fault that, Sauce isn't able to, take an interception 6. That Quinnen can't force a fumble once every 7 games. If Will Howard and Will Kemba were drowning and you had one life vest, who gets it? Will Howard gets it, baby. Will Howard is the truth. That's all I'm going to say. And everyone will realize why sooner rather than later. All right. We'll go through a few more. Per Connor Hughes, Giants front office and coaching staff have touched base with former members of Jets coaching staff to discuss working with Rodgers. Oh, wow. They received rave reviews. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that they've received rave reviews. None of these draft eligible guys are high school hall. Yes, you're damn right they're not. There's only one Hall of Famer regarding this draft, and that's the guy talking about it. So about Fisk Graham, I actually think Fisk is slightly better. Wow. Yeah, I mean, he might be. He's bigger. He's stronger. Like on the, he's got more base to him. He might not be as agile down the line, but like, what's the point? Agility down the line is cool, but what's cooler? Agility getting to the quarterback and actually finishing sacks, which I feel like Mason Graham struggled with a bit. So yeah, it's totally fair, Nick. And if you look at this draft, I mean, like if Mason Graham was in last year's draft, where does he go? I think he'd still be a 1st-round pick. He'd probably go in like the 20s. But this draft this year is very strange because there's 3 or 4 guys that you can say are top 15 picks, and then literally guys like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, keep going, are like guys that should be drafted like in like the 20s. That's just the way overall, like generally speaking. But you're only in a class with players that you're in a class with. All right. So how long we've been going? If anyone wants to join the stream, I'm going to tweet the link out. Frankie V live at the Combine, where we got the boys in the house. We got Drew and Kyle. I don't know where the heck they went, but yeah, let me post this out. Let me see if Nick wants to come in, actually. Who wants to join the stream? Yeah, so the rumors. So this, I just hopped on the New York Post. I was talking with Brandon London over there for a little bit. Shout outs to him in the Post, by the way. They always hold it down and give me a nice platform to talk about the Jets and today a little bit of Giants. The Matthew Stafford news, again, why I opened this is very interesting. Apparently, I spelled resigns wrong, but whatever. He will stay with Los Angeles, and that is very, very telling, or not telling, but that'll affect a lot as to what we see happens with the Raiders drafting at 6, with the Giants drafting at 3, and with the Jets drafting at 7. It was all kind of a domino effect. The Giants got Stafford. They're out of the Cam Ward running. The value for Cam Ward might go down. But now the Giants may be in the Cam Ward running, which I've heard they are. But again, they're doing their diligence. The Giants are doing their diligence for Cam Ward. They're doing their diligence on Aaron Rodgers, apparently. They're getting their feelers out there. That affects the Raiders. Now the Raiders may move on from Stafford, who was rumored there. And that's where the whole beef came with, Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz. Jordan Schultz reporting that Matt Stafford was actually in Montana at Brady's resort home, where he has a home there. Brady and a resort home. Brady's a big shot. He could have 2-3 homes in every city. And was whining and dining them. They were skiing together. Brady, a minority owner now of the Vegas Raiders, wanted Matt Stafford there. That's not happening. So Ian said they apparently bumped into each other. I could care less, honestly. I actually think what Jordan did was kind of cool. Like, if you have an issue that someone's calling your sources out, want to just confront them, but whatever. Now Stafford's off the table. So at this point, the Raiders need a quarterback. Are they going to pay Sam Darnold, who's the only real viable quarterback I could see on the market right now as a day one starter? How much money is Vegas willing to ante up? Or is Vegas going to look at the draft? The free agency period and free agencies before the draft. So we'll have those answers. So a lot of things are going to change from the combine till the free agency, and from free agency till the draft. If the Raiders pay Sam Darnold, they're probably not drafting someone at 6. Tennessee wants to trade this pick. The Raiders, if they go with Darnold, they're out of the running. The Giants, and there might be a bidding war between the Giants and the Jets. You just have to see how things play out. It's all about availability. All right, we got any more questions? If Mike White signs a 2-year deal with Buffalo, I knew we were going to get a Mike White question. Undamn believable. What could he command this offseason? He's even as a backup, dumb that he locked in for a measly $1 million. Man, the NFL is a tough business. When you got that shine, you got a little bit of shine, you better capitalize on it. There's no more shine with Mike White. It's not to say that can't change, but come on. I mean, what are you going to give Mike White? I wouldn't even take him for free at this point. Sorry, it's just over. Oh, someone's handing out pizza, but I'm on the stream, so I can't take any. The Jets. All right. Neil Brooks. Nice picture. I'm sure that's your son. The Jets plan should be to draft a day 2-3 quarterback this year, then get into position to move up for a day 1 quarterback next year. If we sell the house move this year, we'll lose both opportunities. Agree. The Jets' plan should be to draft a day 2-3 quarterback this year, then get into position to move up for a day 1 quarterback next year. If we sell the house move this year. Yeah. I mean, if you sell the farm to go to 1, or, you know what? I'll take 1. I'm on there. I'm hungry. I don't care. There we go. See how nice this lady and these people are? I am that hungry. There we go. All right. I'm not going to eat it on air, but I appreciate it. So, yeah, the Italian in me always kicks in no matter what. Never leaves. I do agree with that. I 100% do. But if the Jets feel that Cam Ward is their franchise guy, they're not worried about the quarterback situation next year. It's Cam Ward. But you're right. This is the thing. If you were to tell me they can end up with Will Howard, or I'm in the minority here, I like Riley Leonard's, the prospect of him. I like him as he develops. I think he could be really good. If you can tell me we're going to get one of those two and develop them out, I don't want Cam Ward. But if you're going to tell me that we're going to end up with Tyler Shuck, who a lot of people like, I just don't really see it, or even a McCord. I would rather just sell the farm for Cam Ward if that's the option there, a quarterback, if you're not looking at 26. You said not the point. Well, I listen, danger zone. I understand what you're saying about the Mike White thing. I wasn't trying to like crap on your opinion. The thing with Mike White is it's just I'm a little bit pissy about it because I wish he had another like chance here. I just think it was over. You know, it's like you when you buy a car and you get it off the lot, the value goes down, then you get into a few accidents and the value really goes down. It's just like it was a nice car. It was cool. It could have done something with it. You could have put a nice spoiler on it. You could have got some nice rims, but at this point, it's toast face. No, I mean, yeah. Who is this UO? These comments. No comment. No comment. Let's see if we get somebody on the stream. All right. We are live in Indianapolis, and everything is going well. Is that Drake? Yeah, Drake would ask those questions. That's very Drake-ish. But yeah, so just to kind of go through my quarterback rankings as of today, you're gonna think I'm nuts, but most people that I meet do. QB1 is Cam Ward. Spoke enough about him. Does everything exceptionally well from in the pocket. Positions himself to make throws from anywhere in the pocket. Can throw at any arm angle. Buys enough time. Goes through read 1 and 2 to 3 if he needs to. Confident. Baller. Love him. If he had a little bit of a better arm, a little more pop, a little more zing, or had a little more explosiveness running, had a little more top speed, he'd be someone I would easily want to trade up for. He'd be in my QB1 conversation. He would have been in my QB1 conversation also last year if he had those things I'm saying, but he doesn't. So he stays in QB1 this year. And last year, if I had to say, probably be in that QB4 convo, maybe 3 with Drake May, because I think he's that good. Quarterback 2. This is where things get super interesting, and I get a lot of crap for this, but I'm just sticking with what I see, sticking with my guns. Will Howard is my QB2. Will Howard, QB2. Everything Will Howard does, he does very well. Everything. Every damn thing. So I don't know what you want me to tell you. I know his name isn't, then he doesn't the aura, he doesn't the flash. He looks like he's a prick, I guess. I don't know. People don't like him. Will Howard's my QB2. Every time Will Howard throws a football, it hits the receiver in the numbers. Every time he needs to win a big game, when he was at Kansas State, when he got to Ohio State, he wins every big game. Players love him. He can run. He's big. He's smart. He's confident. He's a leader. I don't know what else you want in a quarterback. It's like you want a good pizza. I give you great flour. I give you great, dough. I give you great cheese and tomatoes. You're gonna have a great pizza. What else do you want? As long as the oven, the temperature is right, you should be fine. So Will Howard's my QB2. QB3, things get really interesting. I didn't want to go here, but I'm just gonna keep it chalk on QB3 because he's on QB3 on most boards. I'm just gonna go with Jackson Dart as QB3. Not the biggest fan, but I think he has enough there, Jackson Dart, where he can do everything. He could hit all the underneath throws. He could hit the intermediate throws. He can hit the deep throws. He can move around a bit. He's got a little flair. And in this draft, that's QB3. So I'm not going to knock him down too much. Do I think he needs to sit? Definitely. Do I think he could start day one? No, I don't. But he does everything good to really good. So I'm going to give him QB3. QB4 is where things get really, really interesting. And this is another crazy take of mine, but they'll keep coming. I have Riley Leonard. I'm sorry. And listen, in a perfect world, in a real world, if I'm a scouter, I'm gonna probably put Shador at QB4. I want nothing to do with Shador Sanders. Zero. I just don't want him. It's nothing, and it has nothing to do with him necessarily or Dion. This play style, I cannot see it working. I just can't. I'm not gonna make, I'm not gonna tell you what you want to hear or it's just I am out, and I'm so out that like I can't put him in my top 5 because I literally wouldn't take him because of the red flags on the field. And all you have to do is watch the BYU game. That's it. All the money, all the chips are stacked. He's folding. I can't do it. Riley Leonard's my QB4. He's my QB4. And listen, I like NFL draft buzz. They have him at QB6, and the 2 quarterbacks in front of him are Quinn Ewers and Jalen Milroe, 2 guys I wouldn't touch in this draft. So Riley Leonard's my QB4. And I think as time progresses, and I was listening to Riley speak today, actually right behind here. I love the kid. I love everything about him. He can make any throw. He rushed for 17 touchdowns at Notre Dame last year, 900 rushing yards. He is a savant. I mean, if you want me to read you what they write about Riley Leonard on NFL Draft Buzz, for his strengths, pre-snap savant who diagnoses defensive leverages and coverage shells with veteran awareness, nasty deep ball thrower, elite athleticism, shows some dog when a play breaks down, keeps his eyes constantly downfield while navigating chaos. Pocket movement is silky smooth with the ability to slide and reset his platform while maintaining throwing mechanics. Especially impressive against Georgia's pass rush. I mean, it sounds like the best quarterback of all time, doesn't it? Absolute weapon in the run game with patient vision and burst through the hole. That 3 touchdown performance against Purdue was clinic tape. Quick processor who gets the ball out on time in the rhythm passing game. Particularly effective work in the middle of the field against zone. Natural born leader who commanded both Duke and Notre Dame's huddles with ease. Teammates gravitate to his steady presence in critical moments. I mean, I don't know what else you'd want in a quarterback. So he's my QB4. And then rounding out QB5, which took me a little bit of a while to go on this. I was going back and forth. I'm going to go with Kyle McCord. It's not that I'm a fan too much, but I think he's got a big arm. And I was talking with Trevor Sikkema here from PFF. He wants to be Baker Mayfield and make throws like Baker. He might not have the arm that Baker has, but he likes to look down the field. I think Kyle McCord's got something interesting. Was at Ohio State, as you all know, transferred, went to Syracuse. I like Kyle McCord's arm. I do. I like his arm a lot. Threw for a ton of yards. Throws a lot of tutties. Has a lot of flair about his game when he gets cooking. So I like what he could do at the next level. Some other quarterbacks that are interesting too. Obviously, we could get into Jalen Milroe. Listen, again, elite weapon. I don't see the quarterback playing in him from the pocket. And I hate saying that about scrambling quarterbacks, but it is what it is. You want to have the conversation? Let's talk about it. Can't throw consistently from within the pocket, and he's not big enough at the NFL level where I could project him out. And I don't think he scrambles even close to some of the elite scramblers we've seen in the NFL. I don't even think he's a better scrambler than Riley Leonard, if you want my honest opinion. I just don't see it. I really don't. The NFL football is actually a little bigger than the college football. People don't bring that up enough. got smaller hands. Again, a weapon, but I don't see the trajectory. I don't see the Lamar Jackson. I don't see the Jalen Hurts. I don't see someone trying to tell me he could like project out to be like a Josh Allen. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Quinn Ewers, cool story coming into college, had a bad year, doesn't put it all together. Good games, more bad games had this year, considering that team he was on. That Texas team was stacked. They might have had the best team on paper in college football, honestly, them and Ohio State. Dylan Gabriel's another interesting one, but too small for my liking. Just makes every throw kind of a Tua light, but he's going to have the same issues Tua has in the NFL, driving the ball down the field in bad weather, doesn't move that well. What are you going to do with that kid? But he could develop. And someone else I really like who is going to creep into my top 5 is Curtis Rourke. Curtis Rourke. I'm a big fan. Now, I don't know what his ceiling is. I'm still going through it. I think as I look at him at the combine, I'll have more of a sense tomorrow specifically. But Curtis Rourke, 6'5", makes every throw. And the number one thing about Curtis Rourke is he makes the quarterback position look easy. He makes playing quarterback look easy. That's the biggest thing for me with some of these guys. Will Howard, when you see him play quarterback, the ball just keeps moving down the field. Wait, what? He just did a little dump off? Like how? Because he knows what the defense is running. He's pre-snap. He's diagnosing it pre-snap. That's what a quarterback's supposed to do. It's not everything's supposed to be, a Shador play or what Johnny Manziel was doing. When quarterbacking looks crazy in the college for somebody, or it's like you're spinning around throwing bombs, it's not going to happen in the NFL usually. It's just not. It's got to look easy. For Curtis Rourke, moving the ball looks easy. Curtis Rourke also, interesting fact, he had more Heisman votes than Shador Sanders did this year. First place votes for the Heisman. Yeah, he did. Very underrated quarterback. Very, very underrated. Big kid, big thrower. I like his potential. I really do. And then the other quarterback, the last one that I don't really see as much of the shine as others here, and he's gotten a lot of love over the last couple days, but Howard Cosell calling him quarterback 2. And I saw him today, literally right in front of me with Todd McShay talking on at I don't know what table that is, the Journal News, I think, or Midday News, whatever they call it. Was Tyler Shuck. Davis Mills. Like, yeah, cool. Comes in, could start if you need him. I mean, as a backup for a couple games. I think Curtis Rourke's better. I think every quarterback I named basically is probably better, or at least has a ceiling. I think his ceiling is like a Davis Mills. But yeah, that's really it for quarterbacks. I'll get to some last questions, then I'm going to wrap up. I'll go live later or tomorrow, depending upon how the schedule kind of plays out. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. So Danger Zone asked, does the fact that Ted isn't running turn you off at all? It does a bit for me. I wasn't locked between Ted and Warren, and now I'm leaning Warren. It does for sure, man, because I mean, there's a reason Ted isn't running. And I think the reason he's not running is because he knows he's not going to hit in the 4.4s or even the low 4.5s. Does Ted think he's going to be a 5.8 guy? Which honestly, I'll be completely honest, I'm not a big cares what a wide receiver's 40 is for the most part. I'm really not. If you know how to get open, you know how to get open. Sometimes guys with slower 40s actually have to have better route running skills and have to be able to high point footballs and catch in traffic better. They've had to develop that because their speed doesn't like bail them out. But if Ted's not doing that, knowing what we know from his ability to high point footballs and get contested balls, why is he not running the 40? Like, we kind of consider him this site here. again, NFL Draft Buzz, a big site that I like. They have him projected to run a 4.5. He's their wide receiver 1 projected. So is he a 4.6 guy? Is he gonna, is he afraid of what happened with Keon Coleman last year? Is he Keon Coleman? Who knows? But we'll go to last question or last comment of the day by my man Cap. I'd welcome Curtis Rook only after Canada becomes a 51st state. If you see him, let him know Canadian Bacon will be renamed Cuckam. That's how we're going to end the show, baby. That's it. Our man Cap, Castradamus, the boss of Warwick, Rhode Island, baby. All right, everyone. Appreciate it. If you haven't hit the like, I really don't go live often, but I'll be doing more. I'm going to think about getting my own show up and running soon. We got some of the guys here that might help me out with that. But yeah, Frankie V in the house. We'll get some interviews going here. I did something with Jake before, Jake Assman. I'll post that out. And then the New York Post. I'm going to work on some interviews out in Indy. We got here late last night, so we just got in the house. But yeah, you'll be hearing more from us, myself, the team, uSTADIUM. Shout outs to everyone helping behind the scenes. We got Nick, Noah. We got Drew and Kyle out here. We got some of the designers out there, Jake, Jack, Dion, Carlo running our some of our stuff on Instagram. So shout outs to the team, developer Omar, Big O. It's always great having a team that supports what you got to do. But yeah, appreciate it, Matty Sip. All right, guys. I'll see y'all soon.